Hi guys, and welcome back to the Traore Army. I think by now you guys know that we had our channel called Black Consciousness Movement channel. Originally it was meant to discuss things like your culture, our heritage, our traditions, and all those kind of things. For example, being comfortable or feeling comfortable in your own skin, and just really being proud of your own hair. Like, I think your girl, you know already that I don't really wear wigs, and I'm happy that my husband actually don't like wigs. Originally, I also don't like wigs, but I'm staying in a country that's very cold, so sometimes I use wigs as kind of a head warmer and so on. Yeah, but having said that, we haven't said much ever since the last time. Today we have three things coming up. We're going to talk about the G20 that happened in South Africa. We're going to talk about, obviously, our boy Traore, Ibrahim Traore, the good things he's doing in Burkina Faso, and just very happy that now around the world there's a lot of things, scandals going on and coming up, that they are not concentrating on Ibrahim Traore anymore, and I'm quite happy about it. And I'm gonna also add something that we discussed on a previous video about things that actually is like in our culture. For example, do we have things like stepsister, half sister? We don't have those kind of things. Just because white people have those doesn't mean that now it has to be enforced to us. We don't even have that in our own language. Like, we don't have, for example, I'm from the Overherero speaking tribe in Namibia, and in our language we don't have anything that say half sister, step brother, stepmother. We don't have that. Anyway, the third thing that we're gonna talk about is just I don't want to touch more on that, but the Charlie Kirk assassination is really taking another turn. Like I said, I'm not a journalist, so I usually use videos of people that are very good at that, like Candace Owens, and other people that are coming out to actually ask those hard questions. So welcome back. And by the way, my name is Jehovah. Welcome back, Jehovah here. So we're gonna start right away with the G20. So what happened originally is that the divided states, obviously, I think you know what's going on in the divided states right now. So they originally said they were not gonna attend. I think they wanted to really boycott it in a way, like giving other countries kind of that intentions of like not attending. And I guess you know what happened? It backfired. I think before I go any further on, I'm gonna put this video of this guy. Like, he is so hilarious. The way he's talking about just the way Trump acted, and the fact that because Trump wasn't there, everything went so according to plan. No kind of like, I think you know the normal, usual way that the president of the United States usually act. Let me give away that.
Furious world leaders at the G20 in South Africa made a powerful statement against the United States boycott of the G20, which is being held in South Africa. The Trump regime is boycotting the G20 in South Africa because Donald Trump has fabricated that there is a white genocide taking place in South Africa. So he says the United States is out, to which the world leaders in the G20, or should I call it the G19, they're like, great. We don't want you here. When you're here, we have to deal with your drama, your baby behavior, and all of the baggage that comes with you. And you're like an asset for Putin. Why the hell would we want you here? So the G19, no longer the G20, they did something unprecedented. So they gave their united declaration of the G20, or now the G19, immediately, right when the conference starts. They did it. Now, that never happens. What they normally do is you wait until the end of the conference, and then there's a lot of negotiation going back and forth about what the declaration is, the joint statement coming out of the G20 would be. Not this time. So Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, he, on behalf of the united G19 minus the United States, says, here are our values. Multilateralism can and does deliver. And Donald Trump's whole position is being anti-multilateralism. Trump's whole thing is go it alone. So the G20, now the G19, immediately said, We stand together. We support each other. We support multilateralism. We don't need the United States here. Watch as the president of South Africa, who's hosting the G19, says that. Here, play this clip.
This G20 Leader Summit has a responsibility not to allow the integrity and the credibility of the G20 to be weakened. In fact, from this summit, we should have a sense that the G20 has been strengthened. We thank all delegations that have worked together with us in good faith to produce a worthy G20 outcome document for this historic leaders meeting.
Welcome back. So based on that, as you were listening, what was happening is that the United States really wanted to boycott, the G20 happening in South Africa, and they came up with a lot of nonsense, obviously propaganda as usual. But guess what? Every single person was not buying it anymore. I think people are really tired. People are tired of buying the BS that's going on, like, all these things and so on. So they attended, and there's so many. I think I can put a few videos about, I think, the Prime Minister of Canada, and I think, is that the President of Ireland? I'm not quite sure. But I can put a lot of videos here of what they describe as a very successful. I think they're teasing him now. They're saying I think they call it the G19 or something. Obviously G20 minus Trump, minus the United States. So let me put those videos on so that you can just hear for yourself, because I'm just here to deliver messages. Like I say, I'm not a journalist. I have to always emphasize that on this channel, because I don't want to be held responsible for things that I quote other people saying. So let's look at that first.
Here's G20 Summit brought together nations representing 3/4 of the world's population, 2/3 of global GDP, and 3/4 of the world's trade. And that's without the United States formally attending. It's a reminder that the center of gravity in the global economy is shifting. The last century was defined by concentration of capital, production, and power. The next one will be defined by diffusion of technology, of energy, and influence, by the rise of the global south and new roles for middle powers like Canada, to multilateral arrangements that work for all. Our task is to ensure that Canada doesn't only endure this shift, but that we prosper under it. And that demands a new economic strategy. That's why Canada is signing new deals with new partners, diversifying our trade and attracting billions of dollars of new investment into our country. Under South Africa's presidency, this G20 is focused on solidarity, equality, and sustainability. Priorities that Canada strongly supports.
Okay, welcome back. So yeah, I feel like it's very good that it backfired right in his face. Guys, you know what? I'm sweating like a Christmas goat, hey? I think you know why they say that. Yeah, hey? The Philippines is very hot, even though every single house here, just like in the United States, has AC. And just like in Canada, every household has a heating system. So it depends on the country and what temperature is. Anyway, by the way, so I feel like the United States deserve what they got, because they acted like they don't want to go when they realize everybody else is going. Now apparently they want to say, and you know what, I think I have to put this video. If I don't put this video on, you guys are not gonna enjoy it, because you know what, I just love the president of South Africa, Ramaphosa. I think he wanted to kind of convey the message that first they didn't want it to come, and then they decided to come, and I think he couldn't help it. Just in front of the audience, he just passed out laughing, and I'm laughing at that because it's a very, very. I feel like the president of South Africa. I'm not saying he's perfect. Obviously, there's a lot of things that I get. That's a story for another day, by the way. I don't want to go into details about him. He's not the people's favorite, but yeah, I think he's a nice person, kind of like he's not a rude kind of person and so on. So let's watch that a little bit and then we can come back.
Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much. We we have received notice from the United States, a notice which we are still in discussions with them over, about a change of mind about participating in one shape, form or other.
Okay, welcome back again. Today's video is actually like this is the last day for me in the Philippines. Very good vacation with my husband. Okay, so the next thing that we want to discuss is about, and that's gonna be done very briefly because I've discussed it before. So this is what I want to make sure, like, I'm gonna say, dear white people, dear white people, we actually don't have words that stand for stepsister, stepmother, anything step, or even like half sister. Like, we don't have that in our language. So it's not something that, I think it's cultural, and I think we need to respect each other. The reason I say that is because there was a video about Shola, you know, and Madame, what's his name? The new New York mayor, Kwame. That's the name I know, obviously, Kwame. He was named after the Kenyan, you know, revolutionary Kwame. So, you know, the new New York, it sounds funny, the new New York mayor, Kwame, was referring to his to his father cousin as an Andy. And oh my goodness, the backlash he received from white people.
I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin, who sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city to be the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo and his inability to reckon with a crisis of his own making.
Well said. The arrogance of white people's ignorance is caucasity personified. I did not have on my 2025 bingo card that we would be educating white people on who an auntie is. Then again, we educate them on everything else, so I shouldn't be surprised. We all know that in their so-called white culture, they lack good home training. Because if they had good home training, then they would know that elder respect is a fundamental tenet of good home training. But hey, let's not say nothing before we trigger their white fragility. And it's like, oh my God, did she just say that? That's so unfair. Oh, racism. Oh my God, I feel like such a stranger in my own land. My feelings are so hurt. Blah, 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 blah. So all them white folks are trying to smear Zora Mamdani as a liar because he calls his father's cousin auntie. Come here. Come closer. Okay. Who calls their father's cousin aunt? Every black and brown person on God's given earth. Like, hello? And yes, you dumbasses, black and brown people know that our parents' cousins are our first cousins. That's not the freaking point. We accord them the respect of auntie and uncle because of their ties to our parents and because of their age. It's called elder respect. You know what? Let the Nigerian in me speak. I can't see a Nigerian calling his father's cousin, or by first name. The slap you will get, it will be reverberating with surround sound. They will hear it in Manchester. Black and brown people even call their parents' friends auntie and uncle. That's how broad our cultural respect for elders go. And have you noticed how Jewish people are never second-guessed, triple-checked about their aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, father, mothers' stories? Nah, they can't be trusted. But Muslims, black and brown people can't be trusted to tell our own stories. It should be criminal for these Zionist, racist, Islamophobic, anti-Muslim bigots to weaponize their cultural ignorance against Zora Mamdani. Mamdani's win will be a critical necessity, but also delicious to see his enemies fail.
So I'm like, dear white people, we actually, and Africans and Middle Easters have kind of the same tradition. I'm not saying exactly, but almost the same. So please, we don't have words that actually refer to a half sister, half brother, you know, like all those things that you have in your, and it's okay for you guys to refer to your half sister, whatever you call it, in your own language, English obviously, but allow us to actually not make provision for that. We are not you and you are not us. We don't have to act like, you know, whatever you decide is good for you is good for us. We are not the same people. Like, I actually said in my last video that look at the fact that black people doesn't make provision to take their parents to put them in old age home. White people do that very comfortably, and that's okay. We are not saying it's wrong. We're just saying that it's your culture and it's our culture to do what we do. For example, black people actually take care of their grandchildren. You guys don't do that, and probably that's why the children end up putting their parents in old age home, because their parents don't help with raising their children, right? That's a culture. So I feel like everybody has to be proud of their culture and not now talk down on the other culture just because we don't do the same thing. That's like that. Let's go to Traore. With Traore, you know what? He is doing so many things. I think I talk about bringing the death penalty, and I gave you the reason why, because there's a lot of spies now being found in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, and we obviously know where they're coming from. It's obviously France sending these people. It's proven. They even in Mali, they even have a guy that actually wanted to take over our favorite Osini Gueda, and right now he's in prison. And so I feel like, and remember, like there were, was it like 2 years ago when they actually caught 4 spies as well, and then they say in Burkina Faso, where they say, oh no, they're just normal, you know, like they have that thing where they come up with, oh no, they're just normal workers, they came there to do whatever, they act like it's diplomats. But no, they did find out that obviously they paid a large amount of money to Burkina Faso. But I think now the military leaders of these 3 countries have decided that, you know what, like with this kind of thing where they have to now pay money and so on, I think they've decided, you know what, they had enough of this nonsense. They're not going to accept any money anymore and so on. So this guy has been in prison for, I think, pretty much a year now. And recently the government of France came out accidentally in an interview admitting that this is a spy. Like, you know how you have the CIA in like in the Divided States? So I don't know what they call it in France, but it's like, you know, that guy actually mentioned that the guy that was actually captured is actually working in like the CIA of France, but that was accidental because they actually didn't want to say that, since they claim when he was caught that he was actually working for the, I think their embassy. Can you see that? But having said that, moving away from that, Traore is doing a lot of things, and I'm going to put videos here about what he's doing. My God, like there's just tremendous changes, like how the country looks like now, what he has done over the past 2 years that he has been, you know, like the leader and so on. So I'm just like so happy, guys. We need to continue praying for this man. I always tell you that, you know what, he's not protected by Russia. Yes, physically he's protected by Russia, but I feel like, you know what, I think God is behind this, you know, this young leader, to be quite honest. Oh my God, I'm sweating like crazy.
I swear before the people of Burkina Faso and on my honor to preserve, respect, uphold, and defend the Constitution, the Charter of Transition, and the laws, to make every effort to guarantee justice to all inhabitants of Burkina Faso.
When Ibrahim Traore became Africa's youngest president, skeptics doubted his ability to lead. But in just 2 years, he launched projects that are revolutionizing Burkina Faso's future. So today, we are diving into these remarkable achievements that are changing lives across the nation. Let's start with agriculture, the backbone of Burkina Faso's economy. In Bobo Dioulasso, a game-changing 8 million tomato processing facility is taking shape. So why is this significant? Picture this. Burkina Faso alone produces 290,000 tons of tomatoes annually, but much of it goes either to waste or is being exported to neighboring countries. And guess what? The facility is already 46% complete ahead of schedule. But here's what makes it truly impressive. It's not just about tomatoes. This plant will create over 150 direct jobs and an outstanding 10,000 indirect jobs, transforming the entire agricultural sector. But Traore's vision goes far beyond agriculture. Now, this is even one of the most fascinating. Burkina Faso's Urban Development Initiative. Under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso has launched an innovative urban development program called the Faso Mayo Mega Project. This comprehensive initiative seeks to transform the nation's cities and address pressing housing challenges amid rapid urban growth. Now, it might interest you to know that the cornerstone of this development plan is the construction of 50,000 new residential units. Accompanied by substantial infrastructure improvements, the project extends beyond housing to encompass modernized road systems, enhanced public facilities, and dedicated green spaces, creating more livable urban environments for Burkinabe citizens.
Anyway, so yeah, let's go to our next point. That's probably going to be the Charlie Kirk assassination, and things are getting way out of it. Like, I don't even know what to say. And like I said, when it comes to things like that, I don't really want to tell you what I think, because I'm not quite sure what I think, and I'm not quite sure I want to say what I think. But I'm gonna put some few people here that are questioning it, and just so that you see what we are coming up against, to be quite honest. So let me put that there.
We are going on a journey. I left you guys on the ultimate cliffhanger last week. I did not intend to, by the way. I genuinely wanted to get the information out as soon as possible that Tyler Robinson is not suicidal. And I'm going to tell you how I know that. Also, while investigating this assassination, there is a politician's name that keeps coming up. And now he's apparently mad that we keep asking questions. I'm beginning to think that he might know something that he hasn't yet shared. So I want Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Tyler Robinson didn't kill himself. I mean, these are the phrases that we now use and that we say when we expect that the federal government is telling us a lie. Last week, I have to tell you, I was contacted by a source who I vetted with information that answered a lot of the lingering questions that we've had about the investigation. Not all of them, but some of them, some of the big ones. First and foremost, we were like, how exactly did it work? How did Tyler Robinson turn himself in, as we were told, but also never confessed? And did he actually author those absurd Fed messages? Because I'm thinking no. Lastly, what was he doing at Dairy Queen? Doesn't really quite fit into our timeline. Also, don't expect this kid who just tried out being a stone cold killer to really have an appetite. And why exactly did the feds withhold that information at Dairy Queen? And why are they allegedly stalking the Dairy Queen to see who comes in and out? We have the story that could possibly.
Okay, welcome back. So I don't want to give so much, I don't want to comment so much on that, but I think we know that this is not a lone shooter that really just decided that I'm gonna shoot Charlie Kirk. And as I said in my previous video, this is not a black person who decided that Charlie Kirk was racist. I still stand my point that Charlie Kirk was racist. I know most people defend him that, oh no, that's not what he meant. There's many things that could have not been a mistake. I mentioned one. I mentioned, for example, when they killed Gaddafi, he actually said, let's get their oil. That's not a good thing to say. Maybe I would give him the benefit of the doubt because he sounds like a very good guy. Maybe he didn't know that the divided states was involved in, doing that to Gaddafi because of the oil, really. Like everybody knows now, we are not stupid, right? And then he said something about Martin Luther King Jr. about, for example, that he was, he said something, I think I posted in my last video, that he was like rude or something like that. It's something that doesn't fit, you know, like an activist. Because remember, Martin Luther was an activist that was a very quiet one. He wasn't like, for example, Malcolm X, who was like, you know what, we're tired of these people and so on. And then I think the last straw for me was when he said that the civil rights movement that actually makes black people to be equal to whites in the divided states, that it was not supposed to happen because there was less crime and all that. Yet he doesn't look at the fact that the 13th Amendment of the divided states actually makes that more crime that are now happening and being put on blacks actually possible. Because if you're gonna say that, oh no, you cannot enslave someone except for when, you're gonna create the when because now you want to enslave the person. Like, we are not stupid guys, right? So having said that, we're still gonna talk about Charlie Kirk assassination separately from what he stands for in that sense, because he was a human being who was assassinated in a very bad way, publicly and so on, but who we now find out that it was not even about that. There was a bigger picture, and I don't want to mention countries, but yeah, I think you heard what, you know, Candace said. You know about him saying, you know, Tucker Carlson should go march. And yeah, so yeah, we are coming to the end of it. I hope that you, because remember I always say that this is not a news channel. It's because I have people who don't really watch news, who sometimes got alerted of what's going on in the world by this channel. So I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to continue sharing the other channels that actually deal with that, because I have so many channels that I can just concentrate on this, and that's why sometimes our videos are late. But having said that, from me, Jehovah, thank you and bye guys.
Kelly